What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Justin Timberlake has been part of the music scene in this country for quite some time, probably over 25 years. We first learned of him through his association with NSYNC back in the very late 90s, and then as a solo artist whose peak years probably were, the early to mid 2000s, I guess. As a solo artist, Justin Timberlake associated frequently with black artists and producers. And he had that crossover appeal. Obviously, with his complexion and with his start with NSYNC, he already had an existing fan base, being seen as the heartthrob of NSYNC. But then when he became a solo artist, he expanded his fan base, especially when it came to, I would say, black women, for a great period of time, with his association with black artists and black producers. Hell, you could argue that when Timberlake was popular, man, that was like the last gasp of R&B, pretty much. But anyway, it's been reported that Britney Spears, in her new memoir, has said that, in her opinion, Justin Timberlake went out of his way to try to... She accused him of cultural misappropriation, like basically, stealing from our culture, and trying too hard to fit in with black artists, right? Those are some of the mainstream things that are being put out there, but isn't being put out there much, right here. Like this situation, I'm telling you, this lawsuit against Justin Timberlake and against the NSYNC former members, the band. This isn't really being widely circulated. But a former tour manager who happens to be black is suing Justin Timberlake and I believe the other former members of NSYNC for $10 million for racism. Justin Timberlake wasn't just accused of cultural appropriation by Britney Spears, who claimed in her bombshell memoir that her ex, quote, tried too hard to fit in with black artists like Genuine. The 42-year-old NSYNC frontman and his former bandmates were sued by a former tour manager, with the latter claiming Timberlake frequently used the N-word. Ibrahim Duarte, who's black, filed a $10 million lawsuit against the pop group NSYNC's entertainment holding companies Zeeks Incorporated, Skis LLC, and NSYNC Incorporated, alleging that Timberlake, Lance Bass, J.C. Chasez, Joey Fatone, and Chris Kirkpatrick were racist. He claimed that he was fired for racial reasons and later gave specific examples in which he targeted the sexy back singer. Duarte charged he was fired without warning in 2000 after allegedly being forced to suffer constant barrages of racial remarks, incidents, and humiliation. In the lawsuit, he claimed that Timberlake exhibited racial insensitivity. The singer, quote, said to Mr. Duarte, "You niggers ain't shit," the legal documents alleged. The ex-tour manager's attorney, Douglas Wigdor, told the National Enquirer, Justin Timberlake used the N-word to Mr. Duarte frequently. RadarOnline.com has reached out to Timberlake's rep for comment. The suit also claimed Mr. Duarte was treated like a second-class citizen and was subjected to racially offensive comments and treatment by the members of the band. Duarte, who was with the band for 4 years until he was fired in October 2000, alleged NSYNC put, quote, intense pressure on him to hire a white assistant with no experience and stripped him of, quote, some of his responsibilities. allegedly reassigning the job duties to a white production manager who was junior to the tour manager. Yeah, that sounds about right. Duarte claimed the members of NSYNC made him, quote, feel like an outsider in the workplace, allegedly making fun of their black choreographer and a member of their security team, who was also African American. The band's manager, Johnny Wright, denied the allegations. I'm sad to hear that Ibrahim has chosen to take this path. It's outrageous that race is being used. I am the manager of NSYNC, and I am African American. NSYNC's director of worldwide security is African American. The musical director of NSYNC is African American. In fact, our entire security team is African American. NSYNC's assistant production manager is Asian American, and it goes on and on. Never in my 10 years of being with the group have I ever heard or received a complaint from anyone, including Ibrahim, associated with the group about racial or demeaning speech, Wright stated at the time. While he didn't just make accusations against Timberlake, the story has been making headlines again after Spears exposed an embarrassing moment between Justin and black R&B artist Genuine. Britney Spears said in her book, one day Justin and I were in New York, going to parts of town that I had never been to before. Walking our way was a guy wearing a huge blinged out medallion. He was flanked by two giant security guards. Spears said Timberlake yelled out, oh yeah, foresees. Genuine, what's up, homie? After Genuine walked away, Felicia, who they were with, did an impression. Justin wasn't even embarrassed. He just took it and looked at her like, okay, F you. Timberlake's alleged interaction with Genuine caught the internet on fire with the foresees impression from the book's narrator, actress Michelle Williams, going viral. Yeah, talk about the abortion thing too. Look, I don't know whether this is true or not. I don't know. I don't know whether any of this stuff is true. I'm going to say this, though. We have to keep in mind, I'm not saying that they're guilty, but we got to keep two things in mind here. Number one, they say he was fired in October 2000, right? And so these people have said that they've been affiliated with, Justin Timberlake for the last 10 years. Timberlake is, 42, so they've been associated with him since he was 32. Mr. Duarte was with him for 4 years, so that's 96 to 2000. This is when Justin Timberlake would have been, I'm 43, 42, that would have been between the ages of 15 and 19. I'm willing to bet and wager that we're a lot more immature and ignorant at age 15 to 19 than we are in our 30s and 40s. All right? Secondly, the culture was different back then. You could get away with saying stuff that was borderline racist in them days and get away with it because we didn't have smartphones like that. I mean, we were just getting cellular phones back then. Not all of this ubiquitous smartphones, camera phones, social media. We didn't have all that back then. So you could kind of get away with a lot of shit back then. Today, you got to be on your P's and Q's about everything. So I'm not saying that I'm just believing everything, but it's plausible to me. It's very plausible. A lot of people, over time, they grow, they change, I get that. But I'm not going to sit here and just say that what this former tour manager is saying is bullshit, because it could very well be true. So that's just my take on it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know whether it's true or not. But people got to realize that people are a lot more complicated than you think. Like, I don't know, people got this thing where A lot of young people I notice have this problem. They tend to think, and I'm not talking about everybody when I'm saying this, but I notice some younger people, they think if you're an old, codgy looking old man, right? Codgety, old, man, and say you're a white guy, you listen to country music, versus an older white guy who stays in Starbucks and, is more well to do as far as financially and had a facelift and votes Democratic, is a staunch liberal. You would think that the liberal would be on your side more. The liberal is the person that's going to be for you and not racist. And that is not necessarily the case. It's not. People are a lot more complicated than you think. So that's all I got to put about that, man. That's all I got to say about that, man. Tell me what you guys think. Hopefully the truth will come out eventually.